Let's get to our panel. Kerry Chikarovski and Bruce Hawker. Great to see you both. Kerry, what did you make of Peter Dutton's comments to The Australian at the weekend, and now this climate debate that's erupted? The Prime Minister leapt on these remarks today in this news conference. Has Mr Dutton inadvertently reopened a can of worms here?
I don't really think so, Kieran. I think what Peter Dutton did was reflect the cynicism which is probably pretty widespread in the Australian community about the government's ability to get to the target by 2030. I saw that cynicism reflected in one of the questions that the Prime Minister was asked at that press conference about how they're going to get there. And look, all power to the Prime Minister. He keeps saying that they're on target and then they're going to reach it. And it's up to the government now to reach that 2030 target. It really isn't up to the opposition to do anything to help them, but it is up to the government because they've staked a fair bit of their credibility on reaching that target. So I think we'll all watch with interest. I think what Peter did was actually raise the question of whether that target is really achievable. And as I said, he's not the only person in the community who's actually thinking like that.
Bruce Hawker, where do you see the politics of all of this now in 2024 in a time of 6 Teal MPs and all the rest of it?
Critically important, I think, for the future of any government in this country after the next election. If, for example, we did see minority government and we had Peter Dutton walking away from important international commitments like reducing the level to 43% by 2030 or based on 2005 targets, then I think we would see it would be very difficult for the Teals to come in and support Dutton. So I don't really understand why he's going down this path if he has an eye to possibly forming a minority government. The government is advised apparently that a 42% reduction by 2030 is very much on the card. So getting to 43% seems to be an achievable target, provided there's real commitment. And you can't just say, oh, well, we'll get to 2050 levels. The international indications are that we actually have to be swinging down by 2025 in order to get to 43% by 2030. And that is critical to maintaining the increase in temperatures below 1.5% centigrade.
The polling today, Kerry Chikarovski, there's some encouragement, real encouragement there for Peter Dutton and his approval rating up a bit, but his comparison with the Prime Minister on preferred PM. Does that give them, the coalition and the Liberal Party, some hope?
Well, I don't think the Liberal Party and the Coalition are going to get ahead of themselves on the basis of one poll. I think what they're going to look at is the trend, and I suppose the interesting thing about the trend is that it has actually been moving towards Mr Dutton over the last little while. I've said on this program before, Kieran, that people mightn't like Peter Dutton, but they're very much learning to respect him. And I think it's because he's been prepared to make some pretty bold decisions. And also, he's been pretty firm on, a number of matters which I think are of great concern to the community. For example, his stance on anti-Semitism has been consistent and it's been firm and it's been passionate. And I think it's been appreciated by not only the Jewish community, but I think it's been appreciated by the broader community who are appalled by what's happening in this country around anti-Semitism. So I think he should be encouraged by those figures. I don't think he's going to take them too seriously. I think he's focused on what he needs to do, which is to prepare the policies that will persuade the Australian people that the coalition would be fit to govern at the next election.